revealing the stressful nature of renewing my passport. Every 10 years, everyone requiring a passport needs to go through the process of renewing that document. Usually, living in your own country, this is a simple process completed in a few weeks at most. Living long-term overseas means the process of passport renewal is a little more complicated, as I've recently encountered. This is the third time I've gone through the process while being based outside my home country of the UK, and each time the process seems to get a little more complicated. In this video, I will attempt to explain that process in an entertaining way. Hi, I am John and welcome to my channel, Laowai in China. On this channel, my aim is to inform people that have never visited China what life here is really like, and not as is often portrayed in Western media. I cover topics such as travel, culture, as well as current affairs both here and overseas that reflect the day-to-day life here. Today's video is called Revealing the Stressful Nature of Renewing My Passport. I hope you like this video, so sit back and enjoy. As I mentioned in the opening sequence to this video, this is the third time I've renewed my passport outside of the UK. The first occasion was in Seoul in South Korea. On that occasion, the process was very simple. I walked into the British Embassy in that city, no appointment necessary, and was assisted at each step by the staff there. And my new passport was returned to that embassy about a week later. They telephoned me, I took a bus into Seoul the next morning and received my new passport. Due to extensive international travel during the life of that passport, I had run out of pages, so I had to renew my passport early, as the British system does not allow for additional pages to be added later, unlike the process adopted by other countries of adding extra pages as and when required. For my next passport renewal, I was located in Guiyang City in China's Guizhou province. This time, the renewal process had been altered somewhat. I had to send the application form and payment to an address by courier in Hong Kong, who then sent the application to the UK. The new passport would then, once processed, be returned to Hong Kong. They then sent the passport to me by courier. The biggest problem on this renewal was the payment process. The only form of payment they would accept was an international banker's draft from a Chinese bank made out in GB sterling. I, along with a Chinese interpreter, went to a local branch of the bank. They then sent me to another branch who, on several delays, decided they were not capable of doing this. So several hours and a number of banks later, I finally found a bank that was capable of providing an international banker's draft. 26 days after sending off my application, I received my new passport. So that brings us to the present time, and surprise, surprise, the system has been changed yet again. A friend of mine had renewed his passport about 2 years ago and told me of the horrific process he had endured in getting his new passport delivered, so I was prepared. Firstly, it is now contracted out to a private company, and I believe several other countries also choose this method. For the UK, there are 4 processing centres in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing and Guangzhou. I chose to use Shanghai as that was the most convenient for me. The process when my friend renewed his passport was applications in the morning by appointment only and collections in the afternoon, also requiring appointments. There is very little information on the UK Gov website confirming this, so I emailed the address for Shanghai with 3 dates and times for an appointment. I received a reply the next day to confirm one of my chosen times had been accepted. Now this process seems odd, because had none of the slots I applied for been available, I would then have had to send another email with 3 more slots, potentially repeating the process until one is accepted. Surely it would work better if on the website a timetable of available slots was provided, then each person can select one, saving lots of time and emails for all those involved. This is the price of progress, I suppose. With my time and date for arriving in Shanghai confirmed, the next stage was booking a train to Shanghai and ensuring I have all the required paperwork completed. I would need 2 recently taken photographs that comply with the requirements of the passport office, a completed application form, colour photocopies of each page of my passport, including the empty pages as well as the outside cover. One other requirement was payment. The only form of payment acceptable is using a British bank-issued MasterCard, Visa, etc. Having not lived in the UK for a number of years, I no longer have one of these. Luckily for me, I have a British friend here in China who was able to help me there. Using his card details, I was able to make the payment. It appears there are no provisions for any eventuality should somebody requiring a passport renewal having no access to payment using the only acceptable method. I had a 10 a.m. slot on a Thursday morning in Shanghai, so booked myself, my wife and son onto an overnight sleeper train, leaving a little after 10 p.m. on the Wednesday and arriving into Shanghai South Railway Station around 7 a.m. the next morning. It was then onto Shanghai subway with 2 trains to take us to the nearest stop of Nanjing Road East before a short walk to the passport processing centre. We arrived at the building around 8 a.m. and there was already a long line of people waiting an hour before the building opened. Most people waiting were Chinese nationals that required visas from the countries represented inside. So we went for some breakfast and returned at 9 a.m. as the doors were opened. We joined the fast-moving line of people and were inside the building, and my application was being processed at 9:10. It appeared they were not too strict on sticking to appointment times, just as long as I had an appointment for that day. The process took around 20 minutes, and by 9:30 a.m. we were back outside. On the UK Gov website, it states the renewal process currently takes around 11 weeks, or you should allow that amount of time. I checked again today, and the same message is showing, yet last week I was told the process currently takes around 4 to 6 weeks. I wonder why they have not updated that info on their system. Payment. My Chinese wife was very surprised at the cost of a British passport. Her passport was 300 RMB. It costs, according to the UK government website, £82.50 to replace or renew your passport online, or £93 if you fill out a paper form. Yet overseas passport applications are subjected to additional costs for a process that takes several weeks longer. £104.50 for the standard 34-page passport, plus an additional courier fee of £23.01. Applicants requiring the 50-page passport must pay £138.51, which includes the courier fee. The reason my family travelled with me was we planned to stay in Shanghai for a few days. We walked about 200 metres to the Bund. The smile on my son's face as he viewed the skyline across the river meant it was worth taking him on this trip. After a few photos at one of Shanghai's most iconic locations, we started thinking about hotel accommodation for the next 1 or 2 nights. We were told one hotel at a cost of 200 RMB per night. Thinking that was a good deal, we were taken towards a car. On arriving at the car, they wanted payment for the hotel before we got into the vehicle. My wife entered 200 into a WeChat for payment. It was at this point the people claimed it was not 200, but 200 per person. Thinking what other scams would they try and pull before we arrived at the hotel, we declined to go any further and walked away without paying. We were now looking at hotels we passed, nothing fancy, but all were quoting in excess of 1,000 RMB per night. We had one hotel close to the subway station we had passed earlier that morning, so we tried that one. They claimed they were not registered to accept foreign guests. Surprising, such a hotel exists in the centre of an international city. We were now back at the railway station and decided to go back to Shanghai South Railway Station and take the train home. There were no sleeper tickets available, but plenty of seats, so we prepared ourselves for another 8-hour journey on the train, arriving home a little over 24 hours after we had departed. I'm now waiting on a phone message or email informing me that my passport is ready for collection. I can then return to Shanghai for that, when the fun and games begin by informing my bank of the change of passport number, the same with WeChat, as well as having just 10 days to get my work permit details and required paperwork updated. A stressful time lays ahead. That is all for this video. If you have enjoyed watching and it's shown you a little detail of life here in China, then your subscribing to my channel would mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching. Make sure you click on the link to the next video, and until the next time, goodbye for now.